Cowboys enter the bye week at 2-7, yet still have reason to be confident heading into the second half of the season. Welcome into Cowboys Rewind. I'm Dani Sureck. Despite the final 24-19 result in favor of Pittsburgh last week, Dallas gave the only undefeated team in the league a run for their money and held the lead until the final 2 minutes of the game. The Cowboys defense contained the run, which had been an area of concern up until this point for this team. They allowed just 46 rushing yards. Special teams was truly special. Tyrone Crawford blocked an extra point, and on a wild kick return, Cedric Wilson received the ball, tossed it laterally to C.J. Goodwin, who then took it 62 yards. Despite being on their fourth quarterback in 5 weeks, the Cowboys offense held their own against Pittsburgh. Dallas snapped their 3-game streak of scoring 10 or fewer points. Quarterback Garrett Gilbert got his first career start and even threw the first Cowboys touchdown in 3 weeks. Let's look back at the Cowboys-Steelers matchup with sounds from the sideline.
Just a beautiful day in Arlington, Texas. 70 degrees at AT&T Stadium. Gilbert wants to throw, going deep down the left side. He's got Amari Cooper at the 50. For Zerline at the 28, a 38-yard kick, and the Cowboys have scored first.
The play clock was getting low, and TJ keeps walking around everywhere. It was like 3 count, 4 count, 3 count, 4 count.
Remember what I talked about? Some Who is this for?
Roethlisberger 4th and 1 at the Dallas 35 will give it a Snell. He's hit near the line of scrimmage. He might not have got that. Randy Gregory again.
We will not vote for any yes, all right? Yes. Come alive, baby. We the truth. Come on, man. We the truth on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the truth.
Gilbert drifting to his right, nowhere to throw. He's got him into the end zone. Lamb got behind the linebacker, and Lamb caught it for a touchdown.
88. Yeah, baby. That's the 88. Boy. I see you, kid. I see you, kid. Player.
Hey, great job with the gymnastics on the reload.
Yeah, perfect.
They keep moving that front, making it a 4 count, making it back to a 3 count. Keep listening. Yes, sir.
And it's 1st and 10 Pittsburgh, and they have moved from their 1 up to the 48. Back to throw, no pressure at all. Ball is now, it's picked off, fumbled and picked up by Aldon Smith. A flag is a flag in the secondary.
Illegal contact, defense, number 54. It's 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
I didn't even touch him. Like, I didn't reroute him or nothing. He tripped on me. They see it. He tripped on me. Man, when I tell you, I didn't even wait. Saw it. You saw it. It's like he did it on me. Let me say this. We got it today. Down the stretch. Clean communication, nothing extra. We're playing clean ball. We're running and hitting. When they can't do anything, we do that right.
2nd and 6 at the 9. Back to throw, a little quick out to the left. Ebron hurdles a man and walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Steelers.
It was a shaky start for special teams at the start of the year, but now they're really starting to impact the final result of the game. A closer look at the Cowboys special teams, which quarterback they should go with moving forward, and much more still to come on Cowboys Rewind.
Cowboys Rewind is brought to you by AT&T Academy, the official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys, and by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
Rico Dowdle at the goal line up to the 10, right sideline 15, 20. He didn't step out of bounds yet. Dowdle across the 40. Rico Dowdle.
Since the beginning of the season, special teams coordinator John Fossil has emphasized the importance of his special teams players feeling important and that they can truly income the final outcome of a game. Special teams has used some trickery this year, including fake punts, the watermelon onside kick against Atlanta, and even last week against the Steelers, they had a few tricks up their sleeve. Fossil says on the 62-yard kick return, it was all a ploy to have C.J. Goodwin limp and pretend his hamstring was hurt during the kick. That way, once Cedric Wilson received the ball and tossed it laterally to Goodwin, he was wide open. During the bye week, DallasCowboys.com decided to mix things up a bit with the podcast groups. Here's how this week's Hanging with the Boys crew would evaluate the Cowboys special teams through the first 9 games.
Rob, I made the statement a while ago, like it's been a while since this, special teams has been special. That's not entirely true. You've got arguably the best deep snapper to ever play the game in LP. The guy just doesn't make mistakes. You've had obviously some great kickers in here. Dan Bailey comes to mind. Chris Jones at one time was, an elite punter, one of the best in the league. They've had good special teams players. I guess what I'm talking about is playmakers, difference makers when it comes to the return game, punting, kicking off. They're tricking it up. As a person that covers this team, do you like what you're seeing? Is it too much? Should they be more straightforward? What's your take?
I think, to Danny's point, I think there's times where they've tried to do too much. They've tried some fake stuff on their own side of the field early in the season where it didn't work. And I guess hindsight, you say you shouldn't have done it. I didn't have a problem with some of the stuff they did Sunday because I think they felt like, you're undermatched with some of your personnel all over the field with some of your injuries. So try to make something happen. And, it's been inconsistent. They've had games where, they've had miscues in terms of the return operation. Chris Jones dealing with some stuff, physically before he goes on IR and the punting aspect of it. And they've had things where the wrong number of guys are on the field. I mean, it's a lot of things that I think you probably, and Danny could answer this better than I could, you probably get hashed out in preseason games and things that, not to be an excuse, but I think they're starting to shore it up a little bit, just like they have on defense the last couple weeks, and maybe they can carry it over. But actually, I had a question for Danny about it because just from your experience, what Fossil tries to do, does that juice up guys? I mean, does that make it more of a, kind of like Amber said, you feel part of it, it's more of an exciting part of your job to have kind of that trick stuff where, you're coming up with things that might impact the game in kind of a crazy way?
Sometimes, I mean, because you got to look at it when you have those type of plays, it really only one person really gets to be the star, right? So if you run a fake punt and they snap it to the personal protector, that's the guy that feels more involved. It's not necessarily the whole team. Where you feel really involved as a special teams player is, hey, instead of kicking a touchback, you kick it to the 1 yard line and give your kickoff team that confidence in them to know that, hey, you're going to go down there and make the tackle. You give them a chance to go out there and get some stats up because you believe in them. So not necessarily the trick stuff, but just showing them that you have confidence in them to make certain plays that will affect the game outside of, a fake punt here or a trick onside kick there.
Listen live to the Hanging with the Boys podcast weekdays on DallasCowboys.com at 12:30. 3 weeks ago, quarterback Andy Dalton sustained a concussion against Washington, and as soon as he was cleared, immediately went on to the reserve COVID-19 list. Once Dalton is clear to play, will he be the Cowboys starter? Or will they go with Garrett Gilbert after what they saw against Pittsburgh last week? We answer that question right after the break. It's been difficult for the Cowboys offense to have true consistency because of injuries at almost every position, including the quarterbacks. Garrett Gilbert got the start under center last week against the Steelers as the 4th quarterback in 5 weeks to start for Dallas. In his first career start, Gilbert threw for 243 yards, including a touchdown pass to wide receiver CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys' first touchdown in 3 weeks. Quarterback Andy Dalton sustained a concussion 3 weeks ago and went right from concussion protocol onto the reserve COVID-19 list. Dalton is expected to make his return this week, which begs the question of which quarterback should the Cowboys go with. This week's Talking Cowboys podcast crew answered that question.
You can win with this kid. You can win with Gilbert. You can
fair. That's fair.
These coaches call a masterful game. due to some technical issues of guys not understanding that they messed up in the game, a few guys on defense, may have cost them a game. And this is what is amazing me, is the fact that you have a spark. Now we go to the sparkless. I don't agree with that. I don't care what you say. Go with the spark.
You're saying Andy Dalton is the sparkless because of what you saw against Arizona and what you saw against Washington, correct?
That's right. Washington had a great defense, so I don't hold that against him. Mm-hmm. Arizona has a great scheme, and they played well that day. But this kid was under duress, and he worked and maneuvered in the pocket. It's been a long time since I've seen a quarterback step up, go to his right, throw the ball, step up, go to his left, throw the ball. You know, the last two quarterbacks just sit there and held the ball like, hey, there's a blitz. Bam!
Come
on, man.
Danucci's clock was back. He hadn't changed it
from FCS time.
Yeah, from James Madison. He still think you have 2 days to throw it. But Nate, do you feel like Gilbert, if he does play? We see this a lot with young quarterbacks. They come in, they do well early.
He have an up game and a down game and an up game and a down game. But this guy's a little bit more mature than that.
Well,
you can tell how he dressed at the podium. He looked like Opie.
My point was defensive coordinators. Can they figure them out a little bit more? I'm not totally disagreeing with you. I think he gave you a spark. I just wonder, okay, give Zimmer 2 weeks for Minnesota, and if Gilbert's the guy, is it going to look different at all? I don't know, but I think Andy Dalton deserves it, but I'm not. He's not head and shoulders above.
So okay, since you said Zim, I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring it up, but since you said Zim, I'm think like Zim. Hey, man, if we get out our pass rush lanes against Gilbert, he going to take off and run. We got to be disciplined. Hey, that's Andy Dalton. Man, let loose. We coming with everything we got because this dude ain't moving nowhere. We going to crush him.
See, I don't get that out of Andy Dalton. I've seen him kind of move a little bit. I thought against the Giants game, the game they came back, he made a heck of a throw to Gallup on the sideline because he was rolling that way.
He looked good. He looked good for 5 minutes, but he's had more than 5 minutes.
Okay, well,
this kid here played a whole game, and all it did was it pressed upon
Andy Dalton has played 5 minutes.
The coaches,
but Gilbert's played a whole game.
He's played 560,000 games, and he's a backup for the Dallas Cowboys. This kid has played only one game, and he's a backup for the Dallas Cowboys. They're in the same boat, the same well. Is who's going to be able to walk the waters. And this kid has walked the water just a little bit better.
Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones said on 105.3 The Fan this week that once Andy Dalton is cleared to play, Cowboys expect him to be their starting quarterback. Don't go anywhere. A closer look at how the Cowboys defense has started to turn around their season next. Welcome back to Cowboys Rewind. The Cowboys defense was riding the struggle bus at the start of the year. Now, they've had 2 consecutive strong outings, one of which was against the league's only undefeated team. The Cowboys defense is much better now at stopping the run, forcing 3 and outs, and they're starting to force turnovers. At the end of the day, a loss is still a loss, and the Cowboys are 2-7. However, it's still important to look at the small victories and areas of improvements we've seen as of late, which is exactly what Kyle Yeomans and Isaiah Stanback do in this week's Film Room.
To see some of the younger guys play with the fire that you wanted to see them play with.
Absolutely. Fire and desire, right? We talk about it all the time on the shows. And what happens is when you have these veterans in place, right? These veterans come in and they kind of have their way of doing things, right? And they're going to kind of do what they want to do, and they kind of have a little pushback with the coaches. Well, when you have that resistance and you're trying to establish a new culture with a new coaching regime, you have to get that out of there, right? So kudos to the organization for removing those quote-unquote bad eggs. And now what you have is a bunch of young guys that are allowed to flourish, right? They feel like they have room to breathe now. They can be themselves. And you see it right here, and it comes in the form of Big Gallimore, right? Gallimore's right here. No, not only that, you guys see right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 down linemen. This look
got away from the three.
Got away from the three-down lineman, right? So now all of a sudden, if somebody does get past the first wave, they have to deal with 3 guys at the second level instead of 2. Let's see how that turns out for us. I want everybody to keep an eye on Big Gallimore right here, going against Pouncey, one of the best. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Run that back for me, Matt. Run it back, run it back, run it back. We're going to see it from another angle, but I just want y'all to see Big Pouncey just eats that right there. Gets thrown out the club. We talked about that before, and gets a big hit on Big Roethlisberger. This actually been Roethlisberger got hurt a little bit, injured on this play. But what you see here is Gallimore getting after it. Pouncey, he is one of the best centers to ever play the game.
No doubt.
Hands down. You won't get any arguments anywhere in this country about that. And that's him 53 right here. But look at the effort right here. We have D-Law coming off the edge. We got Gallimore throwing Pouncey out the club. Let's run this. We have to see this. Look at this. Look at his hand right here. Watch him come off the ball. Boom. That's the effort that we did not see with Big Poe, right? When we saw Poe stood up and kind of just took the ride. Gallimore is delivering the hammer. All right. And as you watch the rest of this play out right here, these guys are going hard, hard, hard. D-Law's retracing his steps. Outside containment here. Now, a lot of people will see that and say, oh my goodness, he got shook.
Yeah.
He didn't get shook, right? Where's your help, right? The sideline is your friend. My job is to make sure that you don't get outside of me. I'm going to send you back to all my boys, right? And when he sends them back to all his boys, look at this. Oh, we got Jalen right there. We got Ariel Wilson right there. Everybody right there. Listen to this. 1, 2, let it play a little bit more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of our 11 players are swarming to the ball.
In the frame.
In the frame.
Wow.
And this is a tight shot. There is so much more energy with this defense right now.
The new defensive scheme is really starting to click for this Cowboys defense. They're becoming much more proficient at stopping the run, which is allowing them opportunities to make big-time plays like the 4 turnovers and 4 sacks we've seen over the last 2 weeks. Last week was the salute to service game for the Cowboys, and a special look at how the Cowboys honored our veterans right after this. It's always been a priority for the Dallas Cowboys to give back to the community and our veterans. In honor of Veterans Day, the Cowboys made sure to make an impact on those who have put everything on the line for our freedom. The Cowboys, despite it being a little different and a little more virtual this year, still made sure to give special thanks to our veterans, active duty soldiers, and their families.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be a part of this. Thank you for having me help you all with Operation Baby Shower. Yay! I've hosted a few baby showers in my time, so this is going to be fun. This is a little bit different. I'm used to having, fun finger foods and a little cake, but it's okay.
The Dallas Cowboys rookies teamed up with United Health Group and Optimism to create care packages for Operation Gratitude, where more than 300,000 individually addressed care packages are sent to soldiers deployed overseas. Each package contains snacks, hygiene products, entertainment, and handmade items, as well as personal letters of support. The Cowboys and Optimism proudly thank all those who have served and are currently serving.
Things that I'd just like to share as a veteran. Not only did I have the privilege of playing for the Dallas Cowboys as a defensive tackle for 9 years, I am a former Air Force fighter pilot flying the A-10 in the first Gulf War many, many years ago. And Brady and I just want to thank all you military families, your moms, dads, and students, because you're a part of our team, America's team. Thank you so much for all you do and for joining us today. We're going to talk a lot about challenges and dealing with change, in particular in our culture today.
I can empathize with all of you, but one thing that I cannot empathize and can just only give you my sincere gratitude is for your service.
Thank you for your service and all the great things that you do.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate everything y'all do.
I just want to say thank you to the veterans for all the sacrifice you made, and hope this will make you feel better.
I just want to thank all the veterans for their service, and thank you for fighting for our country. I just want to say thank you to the veterans. Appreciate all that you done for this country.
So we have a special guest joining us. It is Dallas Cowboys center Joe Looney.
Hello. Yay. You guys got to excuse my hair. We just got out of practice. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You look fabulous.
These people are the true heroes. They allow us to, do what we love here at home. And, we got to give them all the respect. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone who has served or is currently serving our country, putting everything on the line to protect this country's freedom. From everyone with the Dallas Cowboys, thank you. The Cowboys will travel up north to face the Minnesota Vikings next week. They enter the game at 2-7, still with a chance to win the division and make the playoffs. As always, thank you so much for watching Cowboys Rewind. Until next time, I'm Dani Sureck.
Cowboys Rewind was brought to you by AT&T, SWBC Mortgage, financial solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit swbc.com. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Want to tour AT&T Stadium? For more information, call 817-892-TOUR or visit dallascowboys.com/tours.